Good days, everyone. I'm Dian. I'm going to tell you about language disorder in psycholinguistics. In psycholinguistics, a language disorder refers to a condition that affects an individual's ability to comprehend, produce, or use language effectively. It has something to do with brain problems and neurolinguistics. What is neurolinguistic? What is the relation in language disorder? So, let's go to the material. In the late 20th century, neurolinguistics advanced significantly, focusing on how the brain enables and organizes language, driven by growing knowledge of neurology and linguistics. The field's origin date back to the 19th century with two key discoveries. 1861, Paul Broca's contribution. Paul Broca, a French anatomist, examined the brain of patients at La Salpêtrière with severe expressive language impairment. Upon analysis, Broca identified a specific area in the left hemisphere, the posterior third of the gyrus or inferior frontal gyrus, later known as Broca's area, which was significantly damaged. 1873, insight from Karl Wernicke. Karl Wernicke, a German psychiatrist, observed brain lesion in another region of the left hemisphere. Unlike Broca's finding, this lesion caused alteration in comprehension, sensory ability while preserving motor or expressive capacities. This region, identified as second gyrus of the left temporal lobe, became known as the Wernicke area. This foundational finding laid the groundwork for modern neurolinguistic research. The development of neurolinguistics has been profoundly influenced by major 20th century wars, which necessitated advances in understanding and treating language-related brain injuries. Early contribution by Broca and Wernicke laid the foundation for understanding language localization in the brain, emphasizing the left hemisphere dominant role in language processing the most individuals. Their work replaced speculative phrenology with empirical approaches, sparking effort to map brain function. Though these were sometimes criticized for oversimplification. Alexander Luria later advanced a holistic perspective, proposing that mental processes like language and thought emerge from complex, interconnected brain systems rather than isolated cortical areas. This interactionist approach gained traction, supported by evidence of cortical reorganization in individuals with special abilities or pathologies. Developmental language alteration in children. Children's verbal development can be affected by genetic syndromes and developmental disorders, leading to challenge in language, reading, and writing. This condition often involves specific phenotypic characteristics that aid diagnostic. Case syndrome include Down syndrome, characterized by difficulty in articulation, morphosyntax, and lexicon. Rett syndrome affects girls with severe mental retardation and significant communication barriers. Klinefelter syndrome delays language and literacy development in boys. Fragile X syndrome causes late language onset, lexicon challenge, and pragmatic impairment. Williams-Bowren syndrome contrasts linguistic skills with cognitive delays but shows pragmatic limitations. Angelman syndrome, minimal or absent speech development, often linked to severe motor and neurological issues. Cri-du-chat syndrome features delayed or absent speech, telegraphic syntax, and a distinct vocal tone. Cornelia de Lange syndrome impacts language acquisition and phonology, with autistic symptoms in some cases. Prader-Willi syndrome. Delays language onset with simple syntax and distinct speech characteristics. Autism Spectrum Disorder (ASD). ASD includes autism, specific language impairment, and Asperger's syndrome. Core features involve social isolation and resistance to environmental changes. Language acquisition delays range from muteness to reduced communication intentions. Hypersensitivity to stimuli and functional brain connectivity issues. Asperger's syndrome, a milder ASD form, primarily impacts social integration but spare core language abilities. This developmental variation emphasizes tailored intervention for each condition. Language disorder in childhood also impact literacy development, including 1. Dyslexia. Difficult in reading historical terms, cognitival birth blindness. 2. Dysgraphia. Problems with writing. Language disorders from brain injuries or aphasias. Aphasias are language disorders caused by left hemisphere brain injuries, often due to cerebrovascular accident or CVA, trauma or tumors. While traditionally categorized by symptom groups, debate persists on whether aphasia is a single disorder or comprises distinct types, influenced by lesion location and individual brain organization.